spot at the moment.
Well, the athletes ready on the track for the first of two heats in the women's 3,000 metres. And qualifying, just to make it clear for you, first four in each heat with four fastest losers going through to tomorrow evening's final. It's at 6:50 local time, 5:50 in the UK. Don't forget that through tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, you'll be able to see all the athletics here from Prague on Eurosport. So we won't be leaving you to miss anything at all. 10 athletes in this first heat, and Laura Muir goes in this one, better known as a 1,500-metre runner. Anything under 9 minutes is pretty solid running, but only a handful of women this year in Europe have gone significantly under 9 minutes. Laura Muir is amongst them. She's the second fastest in Europe, with that run in Karlsruhe, some 5 weeks or so ago, the Scot. There she is, right in the centre, Laura Muir. Korobkina, the European #1 from Russia, goes in the second heat. There's Svetlana Kudzelic goes in this first heat. Kudzelic of Belarus, an 8:55 performer. But those are not really world-class times, I have to tell you. While sub 9 minutes is good running, it's probably worth, I reckon, about 8:10 for a man. So that puts it in perspective. If you go right back down to the world best times, it's around 8:05, 8:10 for a man, 9 minutes for a woman. So Laura Muir here is about a 7:52, 7:55 performer for a man. But she's come on the scene, Martin, very quickly indeed, has the Briton, Scottish record holder at 1,500 metres. She's only 21. Coached by Andy Young, and what a good job he's done. She made the Commonwealth Games 1,500 final last summer, although she didn't really do herself justice. Has had a busy indoor season, winning the UK 1,500 title.
She's got leg speed as well, hasn't she?
Good leg speed.
Very close to...
she's also got different coloured spikes on. There she is, green and blue, why not? Colours of the day.
All the rage these days. Yeah, she's a 2-minute 800-metre runner. Is Laura Muir.
Quickest in this field on this season's form. So away they go then, the 10 athletes in this field. Mišmaš in there for Slovenia. Has almost broken 9 minutes this year. Other athletes who have done that, apart from Laura Muir with her 8:49, include Maureen Costa of the Netherlands, 8:51. Svetlana Kudzelic, we saw earlier, 8:55, and Julia Viola of Italy is an 8:56 performer. But Fugberg, for example, Sweden's Charlotta Fugberg, has a personal best of 9:07 and a season's best of 9:13. I mean, you know, I much admire these athletes for being the best in their country, amongst the best in their country, but 9:13 is, well, that's national standard. It's nowhere near international class for 3,000 metres. Let's see how Fugberg goes here. She's in third place, just tucked in there behind Eriksson, the early leader in this 3,000 metres. First heat of 2 for the ladies. Fastest time in the world this year is 8:47 by Korobkina of Russia. But the standards are way, way down compared with those of years gone by. European record 8:27, fully 20 seconds quicker than the fastest time in Europe this year.
Let me pose a question to you, Tim. Here we go. We've got looking for 12 qualifiers for the final. 4 from this heat, first 4 from the second heat, 4 fast losers. Now, you and I know that those fastest 4 losers will be dictated almost as much by the pace of the 2 races. You're going into the first heat, you've got nothing to work on other than the fact that you know you finish in the first 4. Maybe you think you might be struggling. What do? Do you just ignore the clock?
Yeah, I think you have to ignore the clock unless you feel you're capable of pushing the pace along for the first 2/3 of the distance. Because if you do make it a healthy pace after all, and you make it a quickish race, then you should be able to finish the first 6, maybe even the first 8, and still get a qualifying spot. It's a policy, I must admit, I don't agree with. I think they should have set the first 6 in each heat and leave it like that. Don't have fastest loser spots, because the athletes in the second race are at a distinct advantage because they know how fast they've got to run. They know whether they need to push the pace along or not after the first, having seen the times from the first heat.
Oh, here goes Sobera of Poland. This vaulting competition continuing to go on. And, well, we're looking to whittle it down to the leading 8 here. But this is Sobera. So Sobera there at 5 meters 70.
Yeah, they're playing catch-up here, Mars, aren't they? They're playing catch-up. These jumps were some time ago. As we see Germany's Tobias Scherbart, equaling his season's best there with 570. Took 2 vaults at 5:45, did Scherbart, the 29-year-old. And in fact, he has qualified with that. So we're just sort of tidying up the tail end of this competition.
And I had a question mark about what they would do about 8th place, because Anton Ivarkin and Valentin Levilany were together in a share of 8 spots. So, in other words, 8th and 9th. And, of course, there's only place for 8 athletes in the final. I think what they've decided to do is to take the leading 9, so they've extended it there. So here we go with Peter Lisek. He too going over there at 5 meters 70. The Poles, as you'd expect, going through in this competition. So 2 Poles and 2 Levilanys in the final.
Which means 2 Frenchmen, of course. Nice clearance. 570 is very, very solid vaulting indeed. At least that's, you know, you're banging into world-class territory there, compared with that men's long jump competition last night, where not one single competitor in the qualifying for that discipline could reach 8 meters. And there it is, just tidies it up. Those are the men who will make the final, even though nobody needed to get to the 575 automatic qualifying standard. Russian Gripic along with Sobera and his teammate Lisek. Ivarkin making it 2 Russians. So 2 Russians, 2 Poles, 2 French, both Levilanese. And despite the personal best for Salas, 5 meters 60, he finishes 10th and just missing out, I'm afraid. Ronaldo, no mark, goodness me, might have expected any French vaulter to at least give a reasonable account for himself. Well, 5 minutes on the clock, so we're well past halfway in this 3,000. Laura Muir there has just sort of breathed to the front without really having to work at it, because it has been desperately slow so far. Indeed, still the Slovenian holding our pole position at the moment. And that coming down the back straight is Maruša Mišmaš in that green strip. Laura Muir doing everything right, just touch on the shoulder of Mišmaš. Anybody that wants to come past them has got to go very wide indeed. In 3rd place behind them is Kudzelic of Belarus. Moving down the outside now, the big figure of Maureen Costa of the Netherlands, and she hits the front with 5 laps to go. 2,604. The winning time is not going to be much inside 9 minutes, even if they go hard from here. Muir, though, as somebody else takes over the lead, again just repositions herself and settles into 2nd place once more. She's running textbook qualifying race at the moment. Doesn't really need to run hard. I mean, I would hope that Laura Muir will check around her in the latter stages after a 34-second lap, and when it really counts, do just enough to qualify. You can see Mišmaš now in 5th place, beginning to struggle. Body's going past her. Led the first 2,000, but not at a tempo that would really question anybody. Costa, well, she's a big woman for a middle distance runner. but very effective nonetheless. Third fastest in Europe with 8:51 this winter. And they come through now with 3 laps to run. That's a 35.1. It's got even slower. So a little bit of bunching behind them in this group of 7. And beginning to suffer back there is the German Krause, really struggling and going backwards fast. You know, championships is over. Intense focus on the face of Kudzelic of Belarus in 3rd spot behind this leading pair.
Yes, and this will be a source of encouragement to the athletes running that 2nd heat, because they went through 2,000 metres in 6:04, and it looks unlikely that they're going to break 9 minutes here. So any sort of decent tempo in the 2nd heat could see more than 4 go through.
Eriksson in 4th, Mišmaš in 5th. She's stuck at it doggedly as the Slovenian. You kind of want her to get through, don't you, to at least get through as the fastest loser. She did so much of the work to set this race up, even if it wasn't particularly quick. But as they come round towards the bell now, Laura Muir still right there at the front on the shoulder of the Dutch leader. And they go through. 34.53 that lap. It's gone 34.6, 35.1, 35.1, 34.6. It's not been quick. And remember those 4 spots there. Mišmaš in 5th place, pumping hard with the arms, desperately trying to stay with this leading quartet. Laura Muir at a canter here, just beginning to lengthen her stride a little bit. She's a lovely looking runner, right up on her toes, Laura Muir here, as she eases alongside the shoulder of Maureen Koster of the Netherlands. They're 1 and 2, and oh my word, that was tight. And I'll tell you what, I've just got a feeling that Kudzelic, the 3rd fastest in Europe this winter, is she? No, she's not, but she was the 2nd fastest in the race. Might have been run out of that. Winning time 8:57.59. The final kilometre works out at about 2:53, something like that, because I remember they went through 2K in 6:04. But Costa and Muir going through by right. I've rather got a feeling that Mišmaš sneaked through on the inside there and could have taken a qualifying spot by right. We'll have to find out, and if we can't do it now, we'll do it for you in just a couple of minutes' time as we head off to pay the bills, which I'm sure you'll sympathise with. Welcome back. Well, confirmation of that result from the 1st heat of the women's 3,000 metres. Maureen Koster of the Netherlands winning in 8:57.59, right alongside of Laura Muir there for Great Britain. Mišmaš did go through for Slovenia, the athlete who led so much of the race, with a personal best 8:57. Great for her. She sneaked through on the inside for 3rd. And in 4th place, Eriksson of Finland. And Kudzelic was indeed denied a 4th place qualifying spot, as we see Sweden's Fugberg behind the Belarus athlete. A personal best for Fugberg. That's brilliant running in 9:01. And Wendt of Austria too, 9:01.